There it is. How's everyone feeling tonight?
Good.
My name is Charles Johnson, for those of you who may or may not know me. I served on city council for 6 years, from 2016 to 2022. Before I go any further, I would like to thank Lee College for allowing us to use this building for this forum tonight. I also want to thank Mr. Nick Rice and Martin Matthews for taking time out of their day to moderate it. More importantly, I want to thank each and every one of you for being here tonight. It's encouraging to see so many individuals wanting to educate themselves about the candidates before they cast a vote. A lot of people say that voter turnout is low. I'm encouraged by seeing this room nearly full today that voter turnout is going to be high. That being said, I've been off of city council for 2 years now. That does not mean that I did not continue to serve. I continue to serve my community by doing backpack drives, same thing I was doing before I got on council, feeding over 400 individuals every Thanksgiving, adopting families for Christmas, serving on numerous boards. I served on the Methodist Patient Family Care Board. I served on the Optimus Board. I serve on just numerous boards, and I'm encouraged to see that we have youth here. I'm going to talk about the youth for a minute because I think I may have the widest range of age supporters here, because I have my cousin back there, my nephew back there, who's probably, there he is, he knows I'm talking to him, 6 months old. I have my family here, my brothers. Would you all take time to wave? My mom is here. Thank you for being here. Couldn't be here without her, literally. And I saw Mr. T here. There he is. It's my dad back there. Thank you for being here. My lovely wife of 23 years is here today. Would you mind saying hi to everyone? 3 of my 4 sons, and the princess in our household, my daughter Charlene. I just want to say I'm running for council because I believe in you. I believe in the things that you tell me when I'm at the grocery store. I believe about your concerns that you talk to me about when we're at a restaurant, when I'm at a Little League baseball or basketball game. All of your concerns I have heard, and it's encouraged me to run for mayor. I thank my family for my support. They're the main reasons why I chose to run for city council in 2016, and they encouraged me to run for mayor this year. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Brandon Capatillo.
Well, as former Councilman Johnson did mention, certainly we are very grateful that you are here in attendance to go and learn about the candidates, learn about your city, learn about your community. Also for the individuals that are putting this on. I mean, this is a lot of work to go and try to ensure that we can provide our citizens with information, right, when you go to the ballot box, right? We do not want to eeny, meeny, miny, moe type approach. There's real issues in Baytown, and you really need to know who should lead our city. Also want to thank each candidate for coming, showing up. Number 2, for filing, right? This is how democracy works, and going and getting to know what are the issues, where do we stand on them. And I believe we're all blessed and fortunate to live in a country that we can govern amongst the people, just like you. We're citizens just like you, no different. And the representative government, which I certainly stand for wholeheartedly, to go and serve the past 2 terms as your mayor in some very difficult times. It's been a great honor. And really, when I came in before I actually ran for mayor, after serving nearly 12 years as a district council member, 6 years was pretty much what all I wanted to do. Was like, I think that would have been enough. But unfortunately, we had something called COVID that came around, and it really stalled everybody's lives. It stalled the city, it stalled the mall, stalled all kinds of things. And so I feel almost a little bit robbed of some years. I feel that we could have really progressed our city. And I think we were finally out of COVID as far as a worldwide pandemic. But as a community, and certainly as some projects that we need to come to fruition, which they are going to come to fruition very soon, we're back to normal, and now it's time to go and progress our city even further. And that's why you need a mayor that's experienced, someone you can depend on, somebody that comes to work every single day for you. And as Councilman mentioned, I already have the title of mayor. I'm not chasing a title. This is my hometown, my birthplace. I was born about 2 miles away. So I'm gonna be Baytown all the time. So I have a title. I'm not running again for me. I'm running for you. I'm running for what's best for Baytown. Okay? I'm running for you. I'm running for your family. I'm running for Charles's family member there. That's what I'm running for. Okay? Because I know you're worth it. Every single one of you. There's some people here that support me wholeheartedly, and there's some people that don't. And you know what? I still support you. I still support you. I take your calls. I answer you. I meet with you. I have lunch with you because you are still worth it. So we're going to get into some issues this evening, and I'm going to tell you more about why I should be your mayor when we can progress our city to the next phase. Because Baytown is a great city, but we still have work to do. Our work is not done. My work is not done. So I do appreciate each and every one of you being here, and I look forward to conversation either during this evening or afterwards. So thank you once again for coming.
Thank you. Candidate Mercedes Renteria.
Good evening, everybody. I'd like to thank everybody for coming out tonight. The dignitaries that are here, former dignitaries that have served. I'd also like to thank all the taxpayers of Baytown. Baytown Informed and All About Baytown for putting on this forum here at Lee College. I just want to critique this forum here at Lee College because a forum for mayors shouldn't be held here at Lee College. It should be held at City Hall. City Hall is not a temple, a sacred temple where we can't have a forum there. When I was on council, we used to have all our debates or talks over there at City Hall. But hopefully if I win and when I win, I will change that and we'll go back to City Hall because it gives us some kind of where we own City Hall. The taxpayers are close to City Hall. We shouldn't have to be over here. Well, that's enough on that, but just want to say, my name is Mercedes Renteria. I'm a candidate for mayor simply because I care about Baytown. I was born and raised in this beautiful city by the bay. I wanted to give back to the city that gave me so much. Allow me to share a little bit of my background on myself, so you can get to know if you want to vote for me or not. I believe in God, I believe in America, and I believe in family. I'm a true conservative, a fiscal conservative. Despite what some people might tell you, I'm a conservative and I'm a fiscal conservative. Heavenly Father, like I said, has blessed my life. I have 4 beautiful and intelligent sons. My oldest son is Mercedes, the 4th. He lives in Las Vegas, Nevada, and he works for Stryker. He's fixing to get married. I'm gonna be there this weekend, so I'm fixing to become a grandpa. I tell him I'm not old enough. I'm only 61, but anyway. So, my second son is Dr. Cameron Renteria. He lives in Washington. My third son is Chandler. He is at the University of Utah. My 4th son is Rylan Renteria. He's at the University of Texas. I'm one proud father and 30 seconds. Okay, let me get to this. Anyway, my background, I'm a product of GCC ISD. I graduated from all the schools here, famous Robert E. Lee, Lee College twice, U of H, and I'm running because I think that the city is in a financial crisis. We have problems at the mall, the debacle at the golf course, hotel going bankrupt, lack of transparency from the mayor, and some of the stuff that we don't hear about. I put taxpayers first, and that's why I'm running. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Mike Wall.
Good evening. I'm glad each of y'all are here. I just want you to know that I'm a born fighter. You might notice my voice is a little bit off. The day I was born with 2 paralyzed vocal cords, so that explains my voice. But back on July 13th, I had just flown and landed in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Got to my hotel room. I was a national delegate for Donald Trump I turned on the TV and saw him being shot at, and that was kind of the point where I decided I was going to run for mayor. I've been thinking about it for a few months, seeing some of the things that Mercedes just mentioned about the dire financial straits of this city, and I feel like if Donald Trump can stand up and say fight, fight, fight after he's been shot at, the least we can do is run to try to save this city. I've got 12 years of service serving you as your Harris County School Trustee. Back in 2002, I was your Republican nominee for state senate when Baytown was largely in state senate 15. I've been active in the Baytown Republican Women here for several years. Growing up, back in the 80s, I came to Baytown quite frequently as a young kid. My father's uncle, his favorite uncle, and the aunt lived here. That was his father's brother. His father died when he was 12 years old, so basically somebody that was like my grandfather lived here in Baytown, made the family fortune at Humble Oil, which is now ExxonMobil, and that family fortune is why I got my education where I did. Grew up here in Houston, Baytown area, Harris County, and I'm just here to serve you. 6 months ago, I would never have imagined I'd be running for mayor. I was your lone delegate to the Republican National Convention from Baytown. I don't think any of our current candidates were even delegates to the Republican State Convention. I've been an active Republican for 30 years. When I was 15 years old, I got to spend time with former President Reagan, became pen pals with him, Richard Nixon. And just a few weeks ago, I flew to Pennsylvania and sat on the front row of Donald Trump's rally in Johnstown, Pennsylvania, and that was quite an experience. So I appreciate you being here tonight, and I hope we can answer your questions in a good, concise way. Thank you.
Thank you. So we're going to start with questions. So as you know, we did take some online questions where it only took a limited amount so that the people here tonight can have their questions answered as well. So in this envelope I'm about to open is the online questions. So our first question, and again, this goes to candidate Charles Johnson first. The first question is there an option to develop the San Jacinto Mall property?
Is there an option to develop the San Jacinto Mall property?
Yes.
There is an option, but the only option that we have right now is Fidelis developing the San Jacinto Mall property. And to give you a little history on that, some individuals have asked what's taking so long with it. Well, when I was on council, they came and presented something that citizens told me they did not want. They wanted to put apartment complexes on part of the property, and we did not like some of the stores that they were wanting to bring in. I felt the city of Baytown, you all, the citizens of Baytown, deserve something better than discount stores. We want something that's going to bring economic development. What does that mean? We want people outside of the city traveling here spending their dollars, because the more dollars that are spent here, the more it helps our economy, the more it helps our budget. And if it helps our budget, we can do the type of things that we did when I was on Finance Committee, which was starting to lower taxes by 1 cent consecutively for 45 years. To answer the question, can it be developed? It can, but we only have one option right now, and that's with Fidelis.
Thank you. Candidate Brandon Cavatier.
So there's not a day that goes by in my life, both as a district councilman and as serving as mayor, is what about the mall? So I'll just answer is this, as far as is there an option? So quite frankly, yes, it's very true. So Fidelis owns the entire property, they have for 2 years. And so we went from a previous agreement that was tax property abatement based to basically performance based for them to go bring in the stores, bring in the good stores, to incentivize the things, the places we want to shop, the places we go to surrounding communities to buy clothing or furniture or whatever the case may be. And so with the new agreement, it is centered around those type of incentives because you deserve it. You deserve spending your hard-earned money for the places that you want to eat at, want to be entertained at, and want to, buy your family clothing at. And so with that, Fidelis, I will tell you that in the very, very near future, there will be some dirt moving. It's happening. This last week, the site plan was sent to planning and zoning. Planning and zoning is under review for that. I believe there was maybe some comments or not, but it looks like it will go and be reheard again in the October 15th meeting. Following that, regarding, I guess, any other comments that are made by planning and zoning and their recommendation, it'll be in front of city council. So the day has come for San Jacinto Marketplace to finally go and come to fruition. One of the reasons why I want to be your mayor again, because we need to ensure that it develops. Develops the way things are developing now, the way retail develops now. The past few years, retail has changed. Your shopping habits have changed. Now they drop groceries at your doorstep. Now they drop everything you can buy in the world at your doorstep. And so we want a mall, or we want a place to shop, but our habits have changed, right? So how do we go and make sure that there's a bricks and mortar building and ask individuals or retailers to come and invest in Baytown and bring the good stuff, if we don't go there? So I'll tell you this, when it opens the doors, I hope I see every single body that's here and your friends to go to New San Jacinto Marketplace, and we'll have a cup of coffee or buy clothes together or whatever, but it's gonna happen. And so, Fidelis, they have presented us a really, really nice development, and so we look forward to that. And I think good things are in the Baytown future very, very soon.
Thank you. Next is candidate Mercedes Renteria.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yes, the question is there an option to develop the San Jacinto Mall property?
Is there an option to develop the San Jacinto property? Yes, there is an option, but let's talk about what's going on now, if we can. So we gave Fidelis $8.5 million to start this project a long time ago, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and still no mall. I understand Fidelis right now is building in Mont Bellevue. They got their priorities over there in Mont Bellevue right now, when we've already paid them $8.5 million. Now, because they didn't meet the obligations to the contract, they were slow on that, they had to reimburse us $3.25 million. So it's called a claw provision. And because of that, we got some money back. So, but we waited for a long time. Now, if you or I were late on the water bill, you think the city would wait on us? They cut your water off real fast. Have you ever tried getting a permit from the city? You're gonna wait on them. You see, we shouldn't be waiting when we paid money to develop this property. Fidelis is building elsewhere, and Baytown does deserve them all. But we should have probably pushed them a little bit harder, or vetted them better, and got us a mall over here. We've not had a mall in a long time. We spent all our money elsewhere. And so, when I was on, well, I'm on the board right now, but one of the projects we had was this graduation thing that they didn't want to have graduation here in Baytown. They had 12 years over in Houston or in Beaumont, and all our money was going elsewhere, because when you have graduation, people are going elsewhere. Well, I stood alone on this fight for graduation, brought it back to Baytown, and guess what? Brought back the money back to Baytown. All our money's going to our employees at Goose Creek, where all the businesses, the restaurants are getting more money, gas, so forth. And so, when we spend money and we give money, we shouldn't give money. We should maybe give them tax abatement and let them come first and build with their own money. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Mike Wall?
Can you repeat that question real quick?
Yes. Is there an option to develop the San Jacinto Mall property?
Well, I think as the other three candidates addressed, obviously there is. I remember coming out here as a kid, seeing that mall, going to the Chick-fil-A that was there. But what I'll say is this, because of my activity politically, people I know throughout the country, what I want to do is bring more businesses to this city. We can't really control what Fidelis is going to do. I guess they haven't done everything they're supposed to do. But one of my best friends, our former Harris County District Clerk, Chris Daniel, he is president of Helping a Hero. And a few weeks ago, last month, I was in Nashville with him. Two of the people that support Helping a Hero are Johnny Morris of the Bass Pro stores and Paula Dean with her restaurants. I'd like to talk to the two of them about bringing their businesses to Baytown. So that's my answer.
All right, thank you. The next question is,
Mr.
yes,
Can I do
there's no rebuttals.
no rebuttals?
No rebuttals, no. But you'll have a closing statement. Next question is, would you increase overall taxes a small amount to dramatically increase the quality of life for all Baytonians? And that goes to Brandon Capetillo first.
So first, let me talk about in general the city finances. We are in good shape. We did have some very difficult decisions to make this past budget. But when I look at my last 6 years as mayor, what I said I would do when I came in office, the tax rate was 0.83, okay? 0.83. Every single year since I've been mayor, we have lowered the tax rate each and every year. 2019 is 0.81. Well, it started off at 0.8, basically 0.83. 2019 was 0.81. Next year was 0.80, then 0.795, then 0.785. Then in 2023, 0.75. Then in 2024, 0.72. And then this year, council, we're adopting a 0.70042 tax rate, which is a tax decrease from last year. So this is proven that if we were in dire straits, we wouldn't keep cutting your taxes. We would need those obviously to provide the services to you. So I will tell you, I'm not in favor of any type of tax increase unless it's approved by the voters of Baytown. I believe that we can work within the money and revenue that we are providing at this tax rate. Additionally, what I've done in the past 6 years was ensuring that every 65 plus or disabled individual or taxpayer in Baytown, that we've increased your tax exemption. So if you're 65 plus, and the median home price for our 65 plus community or taxpayer community in Baytown is about $120,000. That's where we're at. So it took me some time. I know there's some other council members here that are on finance. Charles was one of them at the time. And I said, this is our goal. Our goal is to go and ensure that once you're 65, you're done paying taxes to the city of Baytown. You've done your job and we appreciate it. And so I've done that. I want to continue to increase that. And so I will not, I'm totally in favor of obviously increasing our quality of life and improving it, but I will not support a tax increase in order to do so. I believe we can do it within our means currently.
Thank you. Candidate Mercedes Victoria.
Taxes, no, I'm not in favor of increasing any taxes. Right now, the situation with the inflation we have going on right now is we are taxing people out of their homes. People are suffering. People can't afford to pay their bills or any of that. So, and if you look at the city and what's going on, we emptied almost. We paid $90 million for the Hyatt Regency and Convention, and that's a bust. We don't have no money because we're paying on the Hyatt Regency and the convention. We've emptied a lot of money from our MDD funds, general fund, and we continue to raise taxes across the board. Not just the city of Baytown. Harris County just gave us an 8% tax increase. Lee College last year raised taxes. Goose Creek School Board tried to raise taxes, but I fought that. And I fought them with the bond. They wanted to adopt a bond. And, that was one of my biggest fights. I was a standalone ranger on that. I created a pact to fight against the bond. You would have been paying taxes for the next 30 years. And you know, they always try to sugarcoat it and they'll go, you know, and some people can talk good. The mayor can talk, you see, he can talk. He's smooth. And that's a compliment, you know. But the truth of the matter, that's a compliment. But the truth of the matter is, you know, taxes are hurting us. People are hurting for money right now. You can't buy groceries, you can't go out to eat. You can't enjoy the normal things you would do because taxes are so high right now. And I know that they say, you know, look at the water department. We have a brand new, white Taj Mahal over there where you go pay your water bill. You know, those things keep increasing our taxes as citizens. And you know, when I saw all that was going on, that's what led me to jump into this race. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Mike Wolf.
Can you repeat that question?
Yes, would you increase overall taxes a small amount to dramatically increase the quality of life for all Baytonians?
Well, of course not. During my 12 years as your Harris County School Trustee, I fought hard to lower the tax rate to keep it from going up. Sometimes I was successful, sometimes I wasn't. But, you know, I believe in the priorities of the Republican Party of Texas platform. One of those, for example, is no taxpayer-funded lobbying. That's something that the city of Baytown is spending your tax dollars on right now. We need to end that. And we'll continue to do things like I just said, spending money foolishly on taxpayer-funded lobbying, etc. We don't even have to consider raising your taxes. We need to be your advocates in Austin and DC. We don't need to be paying some entity your tax dollars to do that for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Charles Johnson.
You know, I want to thank Mr. Renteria for raising the awareness of how taxes have been raised everywhere. But I just finished telling you that we decreased your taxes here in Baytown by 1 cent from the time I was on the finance committee. At the recommendation of the finance committee, council agreed to reduce the taxes by 1 cent for 45 consecutive years. So, to answer the question, I answered it with my actions. I've always voted to lower the tax. I didn't vote to raise the tax. We had discussions on lowering the tax, getting a better exemption for the elderly and the veterans, and we've done those things. When I become mayor, we're gonna continue to do those things. It's not going to be, well, let's just hold off this year and wait till next. We're gonna look for ways to continue to do what we started on when I was on city council, which is lower your taxes.
Thank you very much. Our next question is, how do you plan to engage the youth of Baytown? And that goes to candidate Mercedes Renteria first.
Well, I already engage with the youth. Of course, I'm a trustee, and we do a lot of work for the youth. We've created all kinds of programs. We spent all kinds of money to get all of our students the best education we can get. We gave our teachers raises to bring them up to market because they were very below market. You know, so we gave them raises. We got the best programs. We got a robotic program. We prepare our students for the military, for formal education. So I do a lot with them, and I will continue to work with the superintendent, Randy O'Brien, who I have a very close relationship with, even though we don't agree on everything, and we fight a lot about, like for instance, the bond. You know, I will work with them and continue to work with them. You know, I get a lot of teachers that come to me and talk to me about programs that we can implement for the kids. I'm very high on education. In fact, I taught City Councilman Sarah Graham. She was one of my students, believe it or not. She's probably happy to hear that right now, but yeah, she was one of my students, so, you know, there you go. And, you know, I've always been high on education. I mentioned my sons. I have a son that's a doctor. You know, I have another, my youngest son is at UTSA. I impressed because my dad emphasized education to us all the time. And he said, get you an education, it'll open doors for you. You know, who would have thought that a young guy from Old Baytown would be here running for the mayor of the city of Baytown. You know, I didn't wanna do, I love Brandon, I love his family, but, you know, sometimes we have to step up to the plate and do what we have to do. And so, you know, education means the world to me, and I'll continue to work on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Michael.
Can you just repeat the question one more time?
Yes. How do you plan to engage the youth of Baytown?
Well, I'll give you an example. On Saturday, I was up in the Woodlands at the Texas Youth Summit. Conservative youth from throughout the state and from other states came. Donald Trump Jr. spoke. My state Senator Brandon Crichton spoke. Lots of people that care about the youth were there and spoke. I also spoke with a friend of mine. She's helping organize high school Republicans throughout Harris County. I told her I'd be able to help here in the Baytown area and in this region of Harris County. The young people are important to me. I've got my two nieces, Lauren and Addison, ages 10 and 17, and of my 4 or 5 best friends, they've all got kids, and those are like my nieces and nephews. So kids are important to me. I will add this. I always thought I'd get married and have kids. Then I got stage 3 cancer a couple of years ago. Found out I won't be able to have any kids, but I do care about our young people. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Charles Dawson.
The way I plan to engage the youth of our community, I'm gonna continue to do what I've been doing for the last 25, 30 years. Wanna know what that is? I assistant coach. I see Joel back there, I coached him about a year ago. Layla over here, I coached her. Laren back here, I coached him in high school. He's now attending Lee College. Charlene, I'm coaching her. My 2 sons, Charles and Charleston, I coached them. And then my younger brother, how old are you, Carmichael?
32.
And I coached you, right?
Yeah.
So I'm giving away my age. I'm going to continue to do what I've been doing to engage youth. Not only am I a volunteer coach, I tutor in the school district. I started tutoring some years ago when I worked as what they call a BIF counselor, educator, behavioral improvement. Those are the children no one else wants to deal with. I enjoyed it so much, I invited some of those children to be a part of my wedding. So when you talk about engaging youth, that's what I do, that's what I've been doing, that's what I'm going to continue to do. And the reason I do it is because I had people in this audience who engaged with me when I was a child. Brother and Sister White in church, they engaged with me when I was a child. Mr. T back there, he engaged with me, taught Sunday school. I taught Sunday school, I wrote our vacation Bible school curriculum. That's how I'm engaged. Miss Jenkins right here, when no one else believed in me, Miss Jenkins found a way for me to start attending college when I was in high school at Prairie View A&M. So I would like to continue to give back because that is what was given to me. That is a gift. I want to spread that gift, and hopefully the youth that I've engaged, they'll start engaging other youth, and that's one way that you can pay it forward.
Thank you. Candidate Brandon Capetillo.
And I want to thank Councilman Johnson. I know that he's put on basketball tournaments. I've always seen him often doing that, and it's just it. You keep doing what you're doing. Same thing for me. I do a lot of reading in the elementary schools. I get to talk to teenagers at all different ages. And I'll say mainly the high schools is my most, I think, rewarding to talk to our young individuals. First of all, Baytown has a lot of talent. Not just in their academics, not just in their sports, but if it's fine arts. These individuals are just so talented. So we have a great community, and so I'll say kudos to Goose Creek ISD for having that. But I engage with youth by talking to them, listening to them, and that's all part of how I govern. I take what they tell me, right? And what is it that you want? What do you want in our parks? Like there's times when there was something called pickleball, the pickleball, when pickleball came around, when the frisbee golf came around. That was from talking to individuals, learning what does our youth want, what can we do to serve our community? And just like in this audience here, there's an array of ages, and everybody here deserves to be addressed with different aspects of the city. but when it comes to youth, we are very fortunate that we have the youth that we have. In fact, shortly after I became mayor, I reconstituted for a second time the Youth Advisory Commission. It's where we get our high school youth involved, and we run them through kind of city scenarios where they can go and participate in basically governing, and getting them involved with city issues. A lot of them, they're like, I wanna be mayor, I wanna be on council, I wanna run for student council. And so having those conversations, engaging with the youth of all ages, I think is always important for any elected official. And for me in particular, I've always been available for all our youth. Anytime they've asked me to go and participate, there's been Eagle Scout projects I participated in. I've done countless interviews from 5-year-olds on up, and so I really enjoy that. And we're very fortunate to have a very youthful community, believe it or not.
Thank you. The next question, we have our first online question. And that question is, how would you address the financial shortfalls from the private/public investments the city of Baytown has had with the hotel and golf course? And Ms. Candidate Wolf, you're first.
Well, to start off with, I think we need to sell some of these assets that are not in our financial best interest. I think we need to sell that golf course. I think we need to get out from under the hotel. I think we need to renegotiate Project Vector and be able to use that millions and millions of dollars for infrastructure and paying down our debt. Those are some of the key things I would do when I'm elected mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Charles Johnson.
Can you repeat the question?
Yes. How would you address the financial shortfalls from the private/public investments the city of Baytown has had with the hotel and golf course?
I'm gonna say this, I'm a commercial real estate agent. And one thing that I believe everyone who's in small business knows, what happens your first few years when you open your business? Anyone want to take a stab at it? You lose money. That's what happens when you are in business for yourself. That's what happens with any business. They expect you to be in the red. With the hotel and the golf course, we knew from performers exactly how long that they would be not performing well. That being said, if you would take a look at it now, they're actually performing better than what we thought that they would perform. Now, when it goes back to selling these assets, these are assets. I believe we should have amenities to help these assets succeed. We have the hotel conference center there. I said when I was on council, myself and a few of the council members, let's look at bringing amenities in so that people who are at the hotel will want to come back at the hotel, so that people who are there will actually want to stay maybe another day. So my answer would be, or my answer is, see what we can do. We have these things now, hindsight being 2020. I don't want to Monday quarterback this thing. If that was the case, I'd be telling CJ Stroud to not throw that first pick he threw to pump fake it. Everybody can look at it hindsight 2020 and nitpick this thing to death, but I want to be forward thinking and find solutions on what we can do to help these things perform a little bit quicker. Because everyone knows, you all just agreed with me. Whenever you open a business, it's expected for you not to perform well, because you gotta get feet on the ground, you gotta get your name out there, you have to market it. We need to market it.
Thank you. Candidate Brandon Capatillo.
All right, real quick, I'll try to give you two issues and a minute each. So, you heard from Councilman Johnson, it's true. So 5 to 7 years, we knew that those were gonna be some struggling years for the hotel and conference center. We went through that. It was on the heels of COVID and the travel industry and all that. But it's doing well. In fact, Hyatt presented their budget, and so their revenues exceed their operating expenses. And when you look at it in its entirety, no different if anybody ever rent house, 40 years, there'll be an asset that we still have. The citizens will own an asset of $70 to $100 million in value, plus there'll be about $40 million in cash reserves. And so when you look at economic development, this is what the hotel is supposed to do. This is what it is doing. They continue to go and host larger and larger events. Bookings are up. Conventions, in a sense, are up. In fact, this Friday is going to be the Lee College Gala. They have about 900 people that they usually expect. In a few more weeks, I think they're gonna be the Goose Creek Foundation Gala that's gonna be there. So we don't have an amenity as far as a hotel like that in Baytown that provides full service. Everybody I know that has visited, both in town and out of town, are people who are originally from Baytown, and they see this Hyatt Regency, they're like, I cannot believe this is here. So that's the Hyatt. It's doing well, it continues to do better. We'll get into that more if we need to, but the golf course, same thing. The #1 golf operator in the country, Troon, is operating it. There's $0 in the next year's budget to operate it, but it continues to keep its doors open. Food and beverage will be there. So, you know, when I think about Baytown, is it better? It's better with a golf course in it, it's better with a Hyatt Regency in it. And I still stand with that. I know a lot of you may duck your head or not, but you love it. I know I went, we had Mother's Day brunch there. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful hotel. We should embrace it, not fight it. Hey, let's support it. You want nice things, support the nice things. So same thing. So they're not the financial strain, if you think, or if that's the case that was being expressed. In fact, the Hyatt is paid for by sales tax dollars, not even your property tax dollars. So that's where, when you talk about talking smooth, it's not about talking smooth, it's about knowing how the city runs. It's about experience, it's about leadership, okay? It's not about talking smooth, it's about, I know what it takes to be mayor. I know what it takes.
Thank you. Mercedes Ventura.
When I was elected to the school board, I was elected because the person that I ran against was not listening. And now the mayor is not listening. And listen to what I'm fixing to tell you. When I served with Brandon on council, I served with Mayor Pete Alfaro and a few other good, David McCartney. There's a few good ones. Anyway, this talk has always come across about having a convention and a hotel, but the one reason we never did it was because it wasn't feasible. We couldn't afford to do it, and we can't afford to do it now. We didn't want to take that risk. We knew it would be a bad investment, so we didn't do it. So, you know, it's not about, if you're a leader and you want to be a good leader, then you need to watch over taxpayer money. That's your main focus, is to make sure that the people can afford to live. And we're going broke on this. It's a bust. The Hyatt is a bust. Let me tell you why. Because originally, the price for that place was gonna be 50 to 60 million. At the end of the day, it ended up being 90 million. Now, Charles Johnson was a rubber stamp for Brandon. So that's why he's saying this, but listen, so, when you got 50 or 60 million, the original price, it would have taken 10 years to recoup some of your money. But now that it's 90 million and it's doubled almost, we won't ever see a return on the convention center. We're paying for management and operations of the Hyatt while they're making all the money. We're not making money. The taxpayers are paying for them to do this. The borough hit and all it messed up the whole hotel with all the reparations. The taxpayer paid $50,000 or $500,000, $500,000 to repair everything. And it's not making money for us. It's not a good investment. It wasn't then, and it's not now.
Time's up.
Sorry.
Just want to give a reminder to all the candidates, no personal attacks, stick to your position. You really don't have to say too much about your opponents, just stick to your position, okay? All right, so I've drawn 2 questions about this topic, so I'm gonna try to phrase it the best I can. It deals with the homeless population. So it says our homeless population has increased. It gives examples, Old Baytown area, Alexander Drive area, it's really bad. What plans do you have to address this? I know it's a complex matter. And candidate Charles Johnson, you're first.
Plans I have to address the homeless issue. Well, first, I believe we really need to take a look at the homeless issue as we take a look at the mental health issue. A lot of individuals who are homeless are dealing with mental health issues. How do I know that? One of my degrees is in substance abuse counseling. So we're gonna help them to the point to where they're not returning to the streets. We need to find facilities that we can find assigned counselors, assigned social that are going to be willing to work with these individuals to help them get off the streets and be on the right foot. A lot of individuals who are homeless because they choose to be homeless. And if they choose to be there, we're violating their rights when we go out there and tell them that they can't. The state of Texas has laws that will not permit you to just take people off the street and put them in a hospital. They have to sign, because of HIPAA laws, because of, can't think of the name right now, they have to sign on that dotted line. If you put them there, they don't wanna be there, guess what happens when they wanna leave? They go right back out there. So I think we need to look at resources. We need to look at organizations who are there to help them and see what we can do to support those organizations. Now, when I was on council, something that we did was start what we call the CORE program. The CORE program allowed the police officers, anytime they came to a scene and they thought that someone was dealing with a mental health issue, they had a tablet where that individual could actually be in touch with a social worker or a counselor, and they would find them the help, and they were actually taking those individuals into Houston. I would like to see stats on what the homeless population is now, and I'm willing to bet it may have grown, but we're probably seeing a slight decline in that now with the programs that are going in.
Thank you. Candidate Brandon Capitino.
I mean, obviously, this is an extremely sensitive subject because you're talking about individuals, and as Councilman Johnson did say, a lot of them, they struggle for mental health. They're not on drugs, they're not criminals, but they just have mental health issues, and unfortunately, our county does not have the resources. I've served on the Harris County Hospital District, and there's 30 beds for people who have mental issues, right? That's just not enough. This is the third largest county, soon in a few years to be the second largest county in the country. And so as a country, as a state, and as a county, and even as a city, we struggle with folks that are homeless. We have to treat them with compassion. We have to make sure that we provide them what they can. A lot of times, they're reluctant to even basically take on a welfare check. If it's our fire EMS or police, they do check on them, but if they're not committing a crime, then they stay where they stay. And so we do need to go and continue to work with Harris County. I will tell you, I've had conversations with Mayor John Whitmire. Houston struggles with this, and he wants to fix it too. I want to fix it too, and I'm glad that we have a mayor in Houston. I'm glad that I have the contacts that I have across the region with individuals, particularly Mayor Whitmire, because it is a shared problem. And nobody's immune to that. Mayor Whitmire is certainly committed to going and helping solve this, and certainly am I. Working with churches, I know there's Miss Guidry, she's not here, but Miss Guidry and a lot of other church folks, they go and they really are if it wasn't for them, we would have a way harder issue, much bigger issue. They certainly help with that. But these individuals, they come to our library, they come to our parks, and we have citizens that want to feel safe in our parks. And so we've had to address this. I know our police chief and our police officers, they had to address it as best they can. It's a difficult issue. I'm not sure there's a great solution. But I do want to have a conversation with everyone involved, law enforcement, churches, the entire community. It is an issue that we have to deal with, and we have to deal with it with compassion, but also be smart about it, because we want our city to go and not have to struggle with this type of issue.
Thank you. Candidate Mercedes Ortega.
Yeah, I would just deal with them, showing empathy and trying to work through the churches to try to, they offer food, there's programs for them to live, Habitat for Humanity. There's several things that we probably could do to help them. I would look into helping them the best I can. I think that, a lot of times, it's unfortunately, those individuals need our help, but resist it. And so that's what I would do in the short answer, is to help them, is try to do the best I can.
All right. Thank you, Candidate McWall.
Can you just repeat that before I answer?
Yeah, just summing up, concerned about the homeless population's increase, Old Baytown area, Alexander Drive's really bad. What plans do you have for fixing and addressing this problem? I know it's a complex matter.
Well, I'll just start by saying that the most important relationship I have is with my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and we're commanded in the Bible to care for homeless people, and we need to reach out to not just the churches, but private organizations, people, one good friend of mine is former Houston City Council member, Michael Gubosh. I know he had an effort, at one time at least, he and his family would reach out and provide food to the homeless people, and that was against the law in parts of Houston. But gotta work with the churches and private organizations to do what we can for the homeless. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question is, how involved are you with the citizens of Baytown? Those first two candidates, Brandon Cavatia.
Well, as a councilman, I really like doing town halls, I will tell you that. I'm still kind of like doing town halls as mayor. It becomes a little bit more difficult as a whole city to go and try to talk to, but I tell you what, I make myself available. I mean, I've done bike rides, I've done things, I didn't even think I would do, but I've always invited anybody, either join me or if I could join them. I've been to countless HOAs, civic clubs, just engaging with our community, listening to our citizens, and particularly, the town halls that you've seen, I think last year, a little bit this year, came from a conversation we had amongst council, was to go and let's make sure that we reach out to our citizens. And so the first, I think, 6 meetings was listening to individuals just in general with the city, and then the second round was law enforcement with our police chief and each council member. So I think I attended every single one unless I was out of town for work or out on city business. I tried to go to each particular one. I know there's one tomorrow. I think District Councilman Ken Griffin is here, and he has one tomorrow, so I'll try to make it to that. Just engaging with our citizens. I'm a very approachable person. It's pretty easy. We'll probably have a long conversation. I've been stopped at Kroger, HEB, barbershop, wherever. We have simple conversations. There's nobody, like when they say, "Where's Brandon?" Most of them are like, "Mayor, hiding." If you can't find me, you just open your eyes, because I'm pretty much everywhere, right? I'm a very approachable mayor. It don't matter who you are. It doesn't even matter if you don't like me. I still talk to you. So it's just engaging with our citizens. I've done it my whole life. I'll continue to do it as mayor. I'll do it just with anybody. And if people say, "Why do you give people that time? Why do you give a person your time when they don't deserve it?" And I'll say, because they still do. They still do. So I engage with our citizens in any way possible. Maybe social media is probably not the best place, but that just turns into a mess. That doesn't solve anything. I like solving things. I'm not into just staying in a big arena of just negativity. I'm more about, let's solve some things, let's make our city better, and let's be part of the solution, not the problem.
Thank you. Candidate Mercedes Renteria.
Yeah, could you repeat the question one more time?
Yes, how involved are you with the citizens of Baytown?
Okay, and I'm gonna start off by thanking Mike Wolf for bringing Jesus Christ to this meeting and talking about him, because it's through the love and charity of Jesus Christ that we interact with all our brothers and sisters. But let me tell you the reason why I serve. I personally serve. I've served almost 18 years. I serve with Brandon. I've served with a lot of people. I serve on the school board right now. But I personally have been taught, and I believe that when you are in the service of your fellow beings, that you are in the service of your God. So that drives me. And I've always interacted, no matter what side of town you live on, wherever you're at, with students, with teachers, with administrators, when I was on council, with employees at the city of Baytown, even with Matt Hollis, believe it or not. He's a good guy, and so there's a lot of people that I am involved with, and it's natural in the position I'm in, and I try, like I said, as I first started, I try to give back. And, I try to help all those that need help, because that's what we're here for. We're here to help each other. And one of the things that I will do, how we talked about taxes. This is the way I help most people. We talked about taxes and how, they said they lowered the taxes. But the Harris County Appraisal District, when they continue to raise your taxes, your property taxes, and even though you lower it, you're still paying a larger amount of taxes, because HCAD runs how much we pay for our property taxes. The city council, yes, we control it, we throttle it every now and then by raising it or lowering it, but HCAD raises it, and even if you lower it, it goes up. But I missed that earlier, and I wanted to say that You know, I try to help these individuals by serving them. That is the main, thing there, is serving everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, candidate Mike Worrell.
I want to start off by asking everybody to pull out their pen or paper. I want to give you my phone number, my cell phone number. If you want to call me for anything, 713-907-0326. I see a few people writing. That's 713-907-0326. As far as the question, you know, I've been in church here. I've been coming here ever since I was a kid. As far as serving, you know, I've served you for 12 years as your Harris County school trustee. If you live in Harris County, we've got 2 precincts in Chambers County. I think I've learned service because being mentored by people like Ronald Reagan when I was 15. You know, 3 or 4 times in my life, excuse me, I've almost not made it, and I think that's why I want to give back to our community. So, feel free to reach out to me anytime you think I can help you. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Charles Johnson.
How involved am I with the city of Baytown? I opened up talking about how involved I was, and I'm gonna continue to talk about how involved I am. Matter of fact, I'm gonna show it with my actions like I've been doing. Before I got on council, when I worked in an apartment complex, I was reaching out to individuals and buying groceries for families. I've been serving since I was a child in my church. That's where it started. I just named some individuals who are here to support me tonight. That's where I learned the art of service. My mom has given her life to this community. She owned a small business here for 20+ years, and she served in this community. I'll probably have the best record of service outside of being an elected official out of anyone that's running for mayor here today. I've been volunteering my time. There was a time where when I got on council members made $500 a month. After taxes, that may come out to be about $380, $400. You can look it up. I've given scholarships to kids from Impact and Lee College to further their education. So I'm not just talking about it, I'm doing it. I'll give most of my time if I'm at home with my family. I'm volunteering my time with my family, feeding individuals for Thanksgiving, helping individuals for Christmas, finding a way to give back in this community. And when I find a way, I act upon it.
Thank you. The next one, here's some online questions here. What major national, state, or local endorsements do you have in your campaign for Baytown Mayor? And the first candidate is Mercedes.
Repeat that.
Yes.
Major national?
What major, national, state, or local endorsements do you have in your campaign for Baytown Mayor?
Right. Well, I don't have any major national endorsements or state endorsements. I work with a lot of individuals that I probably could have asked, but when it's local like this, the city of Baytown, I don't expect to get any endorsements. The only endorsements that I want is your vote. Your vote. That's the only endorsement. You give me your vote, that's an endorsement, and it shows that I'm doing my job. You know, so I don't need any endorsements. I don't, in keeping with that, you know, I'm not gonna take any money from any, because people endorse you, they give you money. Any money I've ever gotten is from individuals, from citizens or taxpayers from Baytown, and I will pledge to you that I would not take any money from the fire department. I would not take any money from the police department. I will not take any money from architectures or engineering firms, none at all. Mike, you know, I'm up against a lot of money right now. You know, this is the deep state. This is a lot of money we're going up against. There's a lot of money involved in these projects. Let's talk about the T-36 golf course. That's a $10 million debacle.
We paid 2 million for the land there. We paid 6 million to the investors, or to the developers, and another $1.9 million to continue the operation when it failed. And so, you know, there's a lot of money involved in this race and in Baytown. And that's one of the reasons why I stepped up, was because that T36 golf course, the putt course, if you will, it was a bad investment, and we're gonna continue to pay for that. Don't get me wrong, let me be clear, I love golf, and I hope to continue to play golf, but not at the expense of taxpayers.
Okay, thank you. To remind our candidates to answer the question directly, and please do not veer into other topics. So we'll repeat the question again. What major national, state, or local endorsements do you have in your campaign for Baytown Mayor? And the next one is candidate Mike Wolf.
Yeah, I would say one of the endorsements I appreciate the most is from my friend Phyllis Hildebrand. She's one of the founding members of Baytown Republican Women. I'm quoting her here. She says, "I would greatly appreciate your support for electing Mike Wolf as our next mayor of Baytown. He has a long history of political activity in the Harris County area. If you read his resume, you'll find he has a lengthy record working with, defending, and fighting for our children. If you sit and talk with Mike, you'll find that he has a broad interest in creating a better Baytown. I believe Mike will be a breath of fresh air in this city's leadership. I'm also endorsed by my member of the State Republican Executive Committee, Dale Inman, the male member. I'm also endorsed by our former Baytown Congressman, Steve Stockman. Steve says Baytown needs a proven conservative for mayor, when he protects citizens' wallets and he uses wise judgment. You can go on and see other endorsements on my website, but our Texas Agriculture Commissioner, Sid Miller, has endorsed me. Sid is known as Trump's man in Texas. Sid was there in Butler, Pennsylvania back in July when President Trump was shot at. And I'll say one other thing. Just to address what Mercedes said about the golf course, I think that our friends at the Texas Attorney General's office need to step in and investigate that and request a restraining order until we get to the bottom of what's going on there. Thank you.
Once again, do not veer into other topics. We're not talking about the golf course, we're not talking about the hotel, we're not talking about the mall. The question is, what major national, state, or local endorsements do you have in your campaign for Baytown Mayor? Candidate Charles Johnson.
I have the only one that counts. They said it in the Constitution, we the people. I have you the people that endorse me. Everyone that showed up here tonight who's asked me a question, I consider that an endorsement because you had confidence enough in me that I could do something for you, that you came and asked me a question. The times I'm at the grocery store with my family and you've asked me a question, hey, Mr. Johnson or Coach Johnson, I need some help with this, can you point me in the right direction? That's an endorsement. And I want to thank each and every one of you who have endorsed me by asking for my help. So the major endorsement I got, it's the only endorsement that matters from the people that are here tonight. The people that are watching on social media, the people that are going to be texting my phone when I leave, the people that are going to be calling me. That's the only endorsement I need.
Thank you. Candidate Brandon Captain.
Well, I'm gonna tell you who's endorsing me, because I really respect these individuals, okay? Particularly, the first ones I'm very proud of is our police and fire, right? It's our Baytown Municipal Police Officers Association and our Baytown Firefighters Association, right? I'm not gonna go and say I don't want their endorsement. I do, because these are individuals that go and put their life on the line every single day. And when they go and endorse me, they take a vote to endorse me as your mayor. That doesn't just tell me, it doesn't, in a sense, it's not about me. It's about that they have confidence that I should be your mayor, I should continue to be your mayor, and that I'm gonna put law enforcement, and I'm gonna put your public safety. That's what's at stake, believe me. Figure out, I don't want to veer off other things, but law and order is very important to me. I'm so glad that we're gonna have whatever the outcome is in the district attorney's office in Harris County, we're finally gonna start putting people back in jail, right? That's good for Baytown. So I definitely take the Baytown Police Officers Association and the Baytown Fire EMS Association, I take their endorsements because it's about making sure that we have a safe Baytown. And that for me is priority one. You wanna be safe. When you leave here, you wanna be safe, right? But on top of that, I have Senator Mays Middleton, one of the most fiscally conservative senators in our state, and he has endorsed me wholeheartedly. So I accept his endorsement. I accept the endorsement of Commissioner Tom Ramsey. I've known him for 20 years. He's an extremely conservative individual. He's an extremely faithful individual. He puts Christ in his life so much, him and his wife and his family. So I accept him as our Harris County Commissioner to go and say, I back Brandon Capetillo. I say thank you. Thank you. And what's so great is he served in many capacities, both as mayor and as county commissioner. In addition to that, Chambers County Commissioner, Ryan Dagley. And then my two predecessors. There's no one that knows this office more than my two predecessors, Mayor Don Carlos and Mayor Munninger. They know what it takes. They know that I'm the individual that has the temperament, that has the experience and the leadership to continue to move our city forward. They know that, and I accept their endorsement.
Thank you. Our next question is, do you agree with rate increases? If not, where would you cut moving forward to make up the natural inflation costs seen by the city to provide these services? And first up is candidate Michael.
Excuse me. No, I don't agree with rate increases. And honestly, I'd have to look and see what we could do to not do that. I mean, one thing is not to add millions and millions of debt to what we have to pay every year, which adds interest and so forth and so on. So thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Charles Johnson.
Would you repeat the question?
Yes. Do you agree with rate increases? If not, where would you cut moving forward to make up the natural inflation costs seen by the city to provide these services?
Rate increases, and where would I cut?
If not, where would you cut moving forward to make up the natural inflation costs seen by the city to provide these services?
Well, to make up the natural inflation cost, I would probably put more emphasis on economic development again. Having individuals come from outside of our city to spend money in our city, we're going to receive that sales tax. That sales tax is not a burden on you all when we have individuals coming in. They're spending money, we're taking more tax from their money, we can add revenue into the general fund. So when we get some of these projects off the ground, when we start looking at different areas of town that we want to develop, you want to make it more aesthetically pleasing, put more feet on the ground, increase vehicle traffic, the revenue is going to come from the sales tax, and that's probably the most fiscal responsible way that we can actually not put more burden on the taxpayers, our citizens.
Thank you. Next candidate, Brandon Capetillo.
I hate rate increases. I hate inflation. I hate when, like the state, we have to hit a 3.5% cap, right? We can't take any more revenue than that. But inflation, believe me, is not 3.5%. It's much more. We all know that. No matter what it is. Gas, eggs, bread, milk, you name it, it costs more. It ain't 3.5%. So I hate rate increases, but at the end of the day, there's hard decisions to make. We just made some this past year. And in fact, last year, I'll give you an example, so that way I'm clear, so none of my words get mixed. We get our raw water from the city of Houston, right? That was a 6% flat rate increase from raw water to our Baba plant, which is our citizens will say. And so we had to pass that 6% rate increase on. We couldn't say no, right? Not, you keep doing that, then your water and sewer fund becomes basically insolvent. So rate increases, I hate them. I hate them. I don't want, believe me, we find everything we can. We did this past budget to try to reduce any rate increases, but sometimes they're due. And so that was the example that I know we had experienced last year. And that's just a pass-through. There was no money to be made in our power plant, but those are the realities. This job is difficult. It's hard. People are gonna be mad at you, right? And believe me, I don't know, you get a water bill just like anybody else. And I don't like to see it grow, but I do everything I can, council does everything that they can to keep all our tax rate, our fees, whatever the fees may be, right? And so, that's where I'm at. I try to do the best I can. If things have to go, you say, here's your tough choices. I wanna make sure that, obviously, we always have to deliver our core services to our citizens. The first thing that goes is stuff that would not interrupt, obviously, service or be the least impactful. Those are hard decisions, and I have the experience as mayor to make them. I have a great council, we made them together, and that's what y'all like us to do. These are hard decisions. They're not all easy, believe me, they're not.
All right, thank you. Candidate for City Secretary.
Yeah, I'm gonna start off by saying, it is hard to manage, especially when you're mismanaging the money. First thing I'm gonna do is stop spending so much money, so much taxpayer money. Again, let's go back to the mall, 8.5 million. Go back to the debacle at the golf course, 10 million. The Hyatt, bankrupt.
I want to remind you that the question
Hold
is
on,
about
I'm getting to that.
You're going on.
No, you're trying to control what I'm saying. I'm telling you that my response to that is the job is hard and we're spending too much money. I would not be in favor of a tax increase or a rate increase, but where would you cut moving forward? I would cut moving and spending so much money. Like this project Baytown, for instance. We negotiated with Exxon. We took a 50-year IDA agreement and took a small portion of 75 million so we could try to spend more money. We're trying to, and here's the deal. We don't need to spend any more money to build any more anything. What we need to do is take that money and pay off our debts that we have. Fix our sewers. We have a major problem with sewers and our infrastructure. So, another thing I would do to go forward with raising money is reinstitute the architect and engineering committee that they did away with. Why did they do away with it? Because there's money involved in it. And if you can hand out a contract to whoever you want to, you don't have to take bids and get the best prices, then there's money involved in that. That's why they did away with that. I would also implement, maybe, just really stop trying to grow and take care of what we got here in Baytown and live within our means. That's what I would do.
Okay. Just a reminder, the questions that I'm reading are coming from voters of Baytown. I think the voters that submit these questions would greatly appreciate if you would answer them directly and not go into other topics. Okay? So our next question is, how would you get a much-needed competitor to Methodist for the citizens? And first up is candidate Charles Johnson.
First thing I would do, not saying that Methodist does not do a great job. I think Methodist does an excellent job serving our community, but we're a large community and our citizens deserve options, okay? First thing I would do, I would look at where we have property. I would get in touch with those property owners and start searching for other medical hospitals that would want to be here. I would help make the connections between the property owners on certain areas of town where we would need a hospital. We have a hospital here on the north side of town. We may want to take a look at having one on the east side of town. We may want to take a look at seeing if there's property big enough on the south side of town, south of 146. Talking about economic development. You put a hospital in these areas, it's gonna increase foot traffic. When you increase foot traffic, what happens? Businesses want to come to town. Am I right, Mr. Walters? He's nodding his head, yes. He's a real estate agent also. So these are things that work. A hospital, I know of a restaurant right now that says that they like to be near a hospital because people that come in throughout the day for checkups, guess what they want to do immediately after? They want to go eat. Because before you go to a hospital, what do they tell you? You can't eat. So their business model, they're booming right now. I can't tell you who they are, but they're looking to come to Baytown and they want to be near a hospital. So that's what I would do. I would find the areas of town where we have large tracts of land, get in touch with those owners, see if I can put them in contact with other hospital agencies, and if they want, and start the conversation. Once you start the conversation, I don't know of any landowner that's going to turn down somebody offering them prime dollar for their real estate.
Alright, thank you. Next is candidate Brandon Capatillo.
I think it's a great question. So, as you know, Baytown's medical facilities and treatment options has grown. Houston Methodist, Baytown, they certainly invested $100 million more in their expansion, but with the East Houston Regional Hospital closed, it put a strain on the East Harris County, Baytown. Those individuals come here. I can tell you that there is a lot of interest in major hospitals coming to Baytown. I can tell you that there's a lot of interest from those that have clinics or people that maybe that have certain insurance, they have particular PPOs and so on, HMO type clinics that want to either come to Baytown or possibly expand. And so we work with those individuals. Obviously, they find land, which makes Mr. Walters and I'm sure Councilman Johnson very happy. But we go and we say, here's the individuals that have land. We want to work with them. We want to make sure that we have a few things. They need infrastructure, right? They need to make sure they have water and sewer available. They need to make sure that they have a workforce. Lee College here is great that we're having it here. And certainly as mayor, I'm so proud that we do have a junior college that is so focused, and school district is so focused on basically making sure people have skills to work. So I will say, when we have conversations with medical institutions, that's also important. They need workers. They need trained workers, right? And yes, it's very true. If we have a medical facility, we have trained workers, they're gonna eat, they're gonna shop, they're gonna live. They're gonna live in the area. So growth. You can't just go put your head in the sand and say, Baytown, I don't wanna grow anymore. Well, I'll figure a few things out. You gotta do it on the job. That's what I've been doing. Baytown's growing. I can't just say, stop, wait a minute, let me think about this. So we manage that growth, and we make sure that we try to grow a lot smarter than we have in the past. We can do better. And certainly the medical institutions like these methods, they want competition. It helps. It relieves the system. And so I want to see a cancer center, particularly here in Baytown. I know our folks, a lot of them, some home family members have to travel to the cancer center or other places. And it's unfortunate that we can't meet that need here. So I will certainly work with any individual that wants to go and bring more medical facilities to our citizens in Baytown.
Thank you. Candidate Mercedes Renteria.
Well, personally, I'll just let the free enterprise system work. They come as they will over here, but I would like to also give them tax abatements, maybe to attract them to come to Baytown, and a few incentives, maybe relax the codes a little bit for them to come over here. Maybe assist, reach out, shop around, and see what hospitals would be interested in coming to Baytown. And I guess one of the biggest thing is, maybe, is it our reputation? Why don't they come here naturally? What kind of reputation do we have for Baytown that they don't want to come here and develop and to serve the community? So, I mean, I would reach out to them and give them, tax abatements, and let the free enterprises.
Thank you. Candidate Mike Wall.
Nick, can you just repeat the question?
Yes. How would you get a much-needed competitor to Methodist for the citizens?
Well, I'll start off by saying that part of my education was a master's certificate in health administration from Houston Baptist University. Anyways, there's been several times in my life when I've had to use the medical facilities here in Harris County, down at the Texas Medical Center. I really want to get MD Anderson here in Baytown. The last 2 years, I've spent most of the last 2 years in MD Anderson, either down in the medical center or up in Conroe, and I think that would be a big deal to bring that type of facility to Baytown. I think Texas Children's should look at coming here. I had to have brain surgery at Texas Children's when I was younger, and that would be very important to me personally to work on that as a mayor, to bring more medical facilities here in Baytown.
Thank you. Next question is, in your first 90 days in office, what initiatives and/or improvements will you lead that will directly impact all residents of Baytown? In addition, why do you feel like this hasn't already been done? Versus candidate Brandon Capatillo.
Well, I guess for me, the continuation, I mean, first 90 days, the biggest thing is, I think, after this election, we'll take a breather, but besides that, continue to make sure that our citizens are being served well. I tell you what I really, really want us to do the next 3 years is focus on mastering our core services. That's your trash, your water, we have clean water, that's great, but your water, making sure we have that under control, but trash, brush pickup, our parks, all the core things of our city. I want you, if you ever provided a citizen survey and you say, what is your opinion on a scale of 1 to 10 of your water, your sewer, your police, your fire, all those services, I want us to be A+. I want us to be 10s on. That's what I want to spend the next 3 years on, and ensure that your tax dollars, the property tax dollars that pay for those services, that they are top tier. We're doing good, but I know we can do better, and that's really what I want to focus on. I think that's what you deserve. You deserve the best full-service city. So we have full-service fire, EMS, all that, and that's what I probably really want to go and introduce to council, that let's really get this as best we can and ensure that the resources are available for all those departments.
Thank you, and then Mercedes Renteria.
I guess the first thing I would do as mayor would be to get rid of Brandonomics, because I'm gonna be the mayor. And then that would be the first thing.
No personal attack.
It's not a personal attack, you asked me the first thing.
He doesn't understand.
Do not,
Okay.
do not do that again.
Well,
Five.
I would-
Excuse me, I want to say something. The rules were in place
I got it.
for y'all to listen and abide by them. If we have to tell you one more time, or anybody, you were gonna be stepped to the side.
I
That's
know,
the end of
I
the
know,
story.
I know y'all, I know that nobody, I'm gonna explain myself, that I know quietly that you, Margaret, you and Wybra are supporting Brendan. I get it.
We don't
But
know.
let us speak, that's all. Let us speak, that's all I'm saying. We can speak. There's nothing wrong with saying the first thing I'm gonna do is, when I become mayor, is become mayor and get rid of the mayor that's here. Because I think that the decisions that are being made, there's a common denominator to the mall, to the T-36, to the Hyatt Regency. Have we had, hold up, can I speak? I'm answering this question.
Because the thing is, you need to follow the rules.
I am following the
And you're
rules.
not reporting out people for use.
I am following the
Reporting
rules.
out people for that. Your question is skipped. Next person. No, we're not gonna go.
If you didn't want if you didn't want the truth, you shouldn't have called me here.
All right.
Because that's the common denominator right
All right,
there.
no more,
That's all I'm saying.
no more
Go
outbursts,
ahead.
audience included. I can control this forum. So I'm gonna read the question. Answer the question directly as you agreed to do. In your first 90 days in office, what initiatives and or improvements will you lead that will directly impact all residents of Baytown? In addition, why do you feel like this hasn't already been done? And that goes to candidate Michael.
Well, Mercedes, thank you for your comments. What I will say, in the first 90 days, I want us to get back to common sense conservative principles that we find in the Republican Party of Texas platform. We need to look at everything we're doing and get rid of anything that's wasteful. We need to find a way to get our debt to a reasonable level. And we've got these huge debt payments that are eating us alive. So when I become mayor, that's what I'm gonna be focused on. Working with my fellow council members to find a way to get us where we need to go. And bring an economy back that's, reasonable to live with. I mean, it's great to have nice shiny things, but we need clean water, we need infrastructure, we need the basics before we have things like hotels and golf courses and things that a lot of the people in this city just are never gonna use. So, thank you.
Thank you. Next is candidate Charles Johnson.
We have clean water. Last time I checked, somebody picked up my trash, so that's a checkbox for that. We also have water not on the streets after it rains, so it's a checkbox for that. The police department, I think, are doing an excellent job. I've attended listening tours and heard how the crime rate has gone down because the police department's doing an excellent job. Don't hear any complaints, never hear a complaint about the fire department, so all those boxes are checked. First thing I would do is take a long, hard look at what's going on with permitting. And I'm saying permitting because we are losing a lot of people from the permitting department. We're losing them because they're going to cities that are paying them more money. People come in, they don't have much experience. Our permitting department is doing such a great job training these people up that other cities are stealing them from us. So we want to take a long, hard look at what we can do to keep people in our permitting department. What does the permitting department do? The permitting department are the ones responsible when businesses come in from before the groundbreaking, what happens up until the ribbon cutting. We have industry, we have developers that don't want to come here because they said the process gets too muddied up, they don't feel welcome. We want to bring back kindness, we want to bring back knowledgeable individuals so that that process becomes more efficient. That's one of the first things I would do. Second thing, I would like to have a meeting with some areas of town that say that they have not seen some city officials there. Pelly, the state streets, stop in and talk to those people and see what the needs are in their community so that we can help them and everybody can be helped. Not just the newer sides of town, but we want to also help redevelop some of the older sides of town, make it aesthetically pleasing so we can get businesses to come into those areas also.
All right, before we go to the next question, just a reminder, all the candidates agreed to the rules. If you didn't want to agree to the rules, you don't have to participate. But we're reading questions from the voters. Doesn't matter who one says I am supporting or anyone else in this room. We're here to give the voters information to be informed on who to vote because they decide this election, I do not. Okay? So, we're gonna go to the next question, and that is, if you are elected, would you oppose and vote against all state and federal taxpayer-funded lobbying? And Mr. Renteria, you're up first.
Yes, I would oppose it. I don't think we have the money to, I mean, if there was, shh.
No more outbursts or you'll be removed.
Take them out now.
That's your first warning. Continue.
Yes, I'll just leave it at that. I'll oppose any state or federal funding.
Thank you. Candidate Mike Ward.
Yeah, I absolutely would do that. When I was on the Harris County Board of Education, I fought that successfully, and we got rid of it for a time. And there's absolutely no reason in good conscience that we should be spending money on taxpayer-funded lobbying. It's against the Republican Party in Texas platform. It's against conservative values. As mayor and as council members, we should be able to go be the people speaking to the legislature in Austin or to the Congress and the Senate in DC, getting things done that is important to the city. We shouldn't be spending your hard-earned tax dollars sending people to do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Charles Johnson.
Would you repeat the question?
Yes, if elected, would you oppose and vote against all state and federal taxpayer-funded lobbying?
If they are not lobbying for what the citizens want or need, I would. I would say that we should, if we're paying them, using tax dollars to pay them to lobby, they should be doing what you all the people want them to do. They should be bringing the issues and lobbying to take care of the issues that you people want taken care of. I mean, so if have they been accused of lobbying against the people? If they're lobbying for things that makes your life easier, makes your life better, I'm gonna support it 100%. And to be sure, call a lobbyist in and make sure they have a good understanding. This is what the people want, this is what I want for the people, this is what you bring to the people to talk to the state legislature, the federal legislatures about.
Thank you. Candidate Brandon Capatia.
So I know taxpayer funded lobbying, obviously it's a big topic amongst a lot of Republicans and others, but I can tell you from the city perspective, we do our own lobbying. I go to Austin, in fact, every 2 years, we do Baytown Day. Councilman Johnson, you joined us, I think, 2 years ago, you weren't there? But we've always went, and we just started 2 sessions ago, having Baytown Day. And we go, we meet our state officials, we bring our Baytown stakeholders, to let them know. We are Baytown, we tell them anytime there's legislation, I'll travel to Austin, or the city manager or staff will travel to Austin and testify on behalf of you, our citizens. It's not used against you. I'd be willing to go and send a letter to any of our state officials to say, I will only allow any taxpayer funds, you, the taxpayer in Baytown, to be used to benefit our city, or to educate, obviously, our staff or council, on legislation. 8,000 bills on average, every session is filed. I can't read 8,000 bills. No one up here can read 8,000 bills, right? Nobody on staff, they're not experts. So we need individuals that are able to look at legislation, see if it hurts Baytown. The main thing is we gotta make defense, just so you'll know, to make sure that things don't hurt our city from a state standpoint, right? Because the state, and I would say, there's just things that really go and decay local control. And those are some things, we want you, the people, right, you're closest to the government, as far as the city, local level, or even your school board, want to ensure that your voice is heard. But those legislative advisors, I know the term is lobbyists, they don't lobby on our behalf, they don't even enter the room. It's myself and staff, we meet with our state officials. So I would totally send a letter to any of our state officials saying that I would only support any of our taxpayer funds used in the city of Baytown to only support legislation that will either enhance our quality of life, bring jobs, or anything like in that manner, but never to hurt you as a taxpayer or anything of that nature. I have no problem with that.
All right, thank you. Our next question is, what will you do to make the streets and neighborhoods cleaner while also making businesses accountable for upkeep of landscape? And that question is for candidate Wolf first.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Yes. What will you do to make the streets and neighborhoods cleaner while also making businesses accountable for upkeep of landscape?
Well, I mean, that's a conversation we need to have at city council with those businesses. If on a task force to go out and make that happen. I mean, it's gonna be hard for me to give you the best answer until I get there and I work with people on that problem. So, thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Charles Johnson?
Would you repeat the question?
Yes, what will you do to make the streets and neighborhoods cleaner while also making businesses accountable for upkeep of landscape?
Well, to hold business, we shouldn't just hold businesses accountable, we should hold individuals accountable also. We have laws against litter. If you see someone throwing something out of the window, the police officer's there, ask them to pull them over, talk to them, give them a warning, the next time, give them a ticket for it. When it comes to businesses, have a conversation with those businesses. It's that simple. When I was on council, we actually tried to help with that by putting, if you look at some parking lots, you see some fences about 2 foot tall that are lining some of the parking lots there. That was to keep their trash from going onto our roadways. And then once you would see enough of it, I know some individuals were talking to some of these places saying, hey, you need to clean up your parking lot. Talk to them about cleaning up their parking lot. Talk to individuals about not littering in our streets and take it from there.
All right, thank you. Candidate Brandon Capatia.
So I believe we made some progress, particularly in our medians. So I've been trying to make sure that we beautify the medians. So we painted the little traffic signals black and put nice lighted signs. Seen that on some of my travels for work, and I thought Baytown really can enhance at least our major thoroughfares particularly Rolling Brook, Baker, Garth, North Main, whatever the case may be. But we're litter bugs, and I'll tell you what, the other day I was at Hutto and Rolling Brook, and car next to me was a red light, and they just threw a piece of trash out there, and I thought it came unglued. But, we are litter bugs. I asked, you talked about earlier the youth, I've asked the youth, that was one of the charges I gave them. Come up with a plan from a youth perspective of what we can do to have Baytown citizens not litter, right? And sometimes it's not even our citizens, it's people that come here during the day and stuff out of the truck. But I can tell you this, with the street sweepers, you know, they have GPSs on them. I wanna make sure they come on these streets, but we gotta do better. There is no doubt. We need our streets looking clean. I want a clean city. You know, I kind of, for 4 years, I was an Air Force veteran, and our Air Force base, it looked clean. Everything was nice, tidy, everything mowed. I know that's not the reality we have here in general society, but that's pretty much what I would like it to look like. I wish we would keep our areas clean, our businesses. We work with them, but I have a hard time putting more and more restrictions on them, on their landscaping. They already have a lot when they develop, but there's some that have them, and they put them in, they get, like I said, they get a certificate of occupancy, and then they don't maintain them. So I can name a few, I'm sure you can too. They don't maintain them. I would say particularly in our thoroughfares, I want to see everybody's businesses look great. I think if when businesses look great, I think people actually go into your business and buy things. And so, we have a lot of headway to make on beautification of our city. But I would like all stakeholders, I know that was mentioned, like travel the city to different neighborhoods. I tell you what, being poor doesn't mean you're dirty. Okay, I've been in some neighborhoods, I go to, it don't matter if it's Oak Addition, Central Heights, Northwood, Pinehurst, Whispering Pines, everybody litters, right? But in some cases, you can see, even in the poorest areas of town, you know what? They keep their yards clean. Okay, if you haven't been in Oak Addition lately, I know I have, it's clean, it's pretty clean. It's a lot cleaner than it used to be when I was in high school, I can tell you that. And so we can do it. All it takes is some elbow grease, and basically sometimes peer pressure from your neighbors, clean your yard.
Thank you. Candidate Mercedes Richard.
Well, I would start off by creating a beautified Baytown, whether that's, you know, we had a program where we would go paint houses, we would, clean the streets, plant in the right of ways, do things that would beautify Baytown, fix our streets. I think I would take some of that money, Project Vector money, and, use it for our infrastructure. If you've gone through our streets, you see a lot of potholes squared up in there on our streets. I would fix the worst streets and use that money for beautifying Baytown in any way possible that we can help it make it look better. You gotta remember, we live in America, and when government is overreaching into the businesses, we have to leave those businesses alone. They're already struggling enough to make it right now, so. You know, there's a fine line between overreaching and helping them keep it clean. So that's what I would do.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Our next question is, why do city council meetings go into executive session so often? These are secret. How do you feel about executive sessions on a regular basis? And candidate Charles Johnson, you're up first.
Executive sessions are used for council to discuss matters that they don't necessarily want lawsuits, propriety information. That information, you got a new business coming to town, for example, and you're talking about where they want to go in, negotiating the deal. If you start talking about that and having public comment on it, that opens the door for other businesses to come in and try to undercut that business. They may not have been expecting it, or they may be thinking about coming in. And you're doing that business a disservice. Mr. Renteria just spoke on. They're already having a hard enough time. So why do you want to make it harder on them by giving away their competitive advantage? You don't want to do that. Executive session is needed. Now, should we be in executive session every council meeting? If it's not needed, I'm gonna say no. If you don't have to be in executive session, if you're not talking about a lawsuit, you're not talking about businesses, information like that, have everything out in the public where the general population, you all, can hear it. You can talk about it at home, and then guess what you can do after you discuss it? You can go back and talk to your council member. You can call me when I'm there and talk to me about that.
Thank you. Next candidate, Brandon Caputo.
I can tell you, council members don't like executive session, okay? There's some here, believe me, when we say we're going executive session, nobody's happy. But it is needed. The Texas governing code does allow it. And so, if it's school boards, if it's Lee College Board of Regents, they go into executive session, and it has to be very specific. We can't just go there because we want to. We can't go in there in a sense, not be transparent or not have open government. I totally believe in open government, okay? But there is situations, litigation, there's land acquisition, there's IDAs with ExxonMobil. In order to negotiate with ExxonMobil, guess what? You're gonna do an executive session. You're not gonna do it out in the open. You think their board of directors, ExxonMobil, who come all over the world to meet? Recently here in Baytown, Texas, have a board meeting that they're gonna go and meet, that they're gonna allow us to go and discuss, in a sense, financial sensitive information on projects or whatever the case may be in an open meeting? No, they're not. Okay, now I can tell you this, no action can be taken. I have to sign an affidavit every meeting that we go into executive session. I have to put my name on the seal that says that no action was taken. We can only discuss, we can only get advice from attorneys. In a sense, if there's something there, obviously staff needs guidance, but we can't take a vote. We can't take a vote, we can't take any action. So executive session, I don't like them. I can tell you this, I've never called one. I've never called an executive session. That's done by legal and by administration. And they need that because they have to know, we only meet, in a sense, twice a month. They come to work every day. They need to know that information because they have to go and do their job. And so they ask council. The only time council can meet is a posted meeting. So some of those some of us are there in council chambers, and sometimes we're in executive session. And I will never abuse executive session. And so with that, yes, I don't like it, but there's been many instances. So it's IDAs, litigation, Project Vector, the mall, you name it. The past 6 years has been many subjects. Yes.
Next is candidate Mercedes Renteria.
Well, executive session is needed, but shouldn't be abused, okay? I believe in transparency and open government. Everything should be done in public, just like this Project Vector. We should be inquiring the taxpayers what they would like us to do with this money. Where do we use this 75 million? We never were asked what we were gonna do with that. So I believe, stay away from executive session, do everything in open government, and show a lot of transparency with everything that you do, and build back the trust that the taxpayers of Baytown, they can have trust in our government. But executive session is a very sensitive thing, especially with working with or trying not to break the Texas Open Meetings Act. You gotta be careful if you have a quorum, talking about issues, it's a very sensitive issue, and I would not use it only on an as-needed basis. That's it.
Thank you. Candidate Mike Walk.
Well, here's what I've got to say about executive session. During the 12 years that I was your Harris County School Trustee, I would say more often than not, times I was in executive session, definitely went on a lot longer than it should have. I think it was often abused in ways that it shouldn't have been. There's a time and place for executive session. I think it should be rare and hardly ever used. From my experience, about 65 or 70% of the time I've been in executive sessions, most of that time did not need to be spent talking about some of the stuff I saw talked about behind closed doors. I think it's often used as an excuse to browbeat members, city council members, school trustees into thinking the way that the superintendent or the administration wants them to vote. So that's what I would want to avoid as your mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question is, what is your long-term plan on improving Baytown. And first up is candidate Brandon Capetillo.
This is my last election as mayor, and so I will tell you, I want to just finish a few things. This is the reason why I'm running this last term. It's real simple. One, the mall, or San Diego Marketplace. Okay, we're on the horizon of that property, finally. I'm frustrated just like you, of that coming to fruition here very shortly, so there'll be announcements with that. I believe youth sports is a big need. I think Councilman Johnson and his entire family are examples of that. Youth sports, if it's volleyball, baseball, basketball, there is a huge need. And on these, the last few, I guess say 2 years, maybe a year, the lack of youth sports, particularly indoor sports in the Houston area, I was actually astonished that we don't have enough. There's just not enough facilities. Obviously the heat doesn't help things either, but I've had an opportunity to travel to some facilities that are beautiful. I believe that it will be used, great asset and amenity for our local community and certainly all our youth sports, but certainly to be regional and beyond. That's why recently you've seen us partner with the Harris County Sports Corporation. They run Energy Park. They're experts, okay? It's the Houston Texans, the Houston Rodeo, they are experts. And that's what I've always done, is always collaborated with the best of the best. And I'm glad that we are partnering with them. There'll be more to come on Project Vector. I'm proud of it, okay? First off, we can't use the money from Exxon on sewers and things. It specifically is for a multi-purpose venue, center, period. That can't be used on your streets or sewers or police or fire or EMS. It's used specifically for this. And so, that's where we're at. That's the purpose for it. That's what it's earmarked for by ExxonMobil and agreed to by City Council. And I believe I know, are you speaking with our youth? They want somewhere to go. We need to make sure they do. And so I wholeheartedly support Project Vector and youth sports in Baytown, and there'll be more to come very shortly.
Thank you. Candidate Mercedes Renteria.
Well, first, repeat the question, please.
Sure. What is your long-term plan on improving Baytown?
My long-term plan right now is to put taxpayers first. That's the main thing, is put taxpayers first. Where we're not cutting services, where our toilets are flushing, and infrastructure is fixed. It's not very detailed. We don't have to, be spending all this money. If Project Vector was only supposed to be used for this sports arena, then why go into that contract? The IDA agreement that we had every year that brought in millions of dollars, we could use that money for infrastructure and everything else. Why take a loss? Why not use the IDA money? And we could have restructured. The contract was structured that way between Exxon and the city, so that money could only be used for one certain thing, and that's a sports venue. Or whatever, because we still don't know the details according to a lot of people. But the point is, why would we go into that kind of contract where we're limited to what we can do with the money? We've never been limited with the IDA agreements where we made millions. We can fix the infrastructure, the streets, beautify Baytown, all the things that we talked about tonight. We could use that money, pay down our debt. I mean, there's a myriad of things that we could use that money for, but the city, again, contracted with Exxon to prevent that from happening and it's like a lottery. They took a little lump sum up front, 75 million, instead of all the millions that we would get over the next 50 years. And to me, that's bad business.
Thank you, candidate Mike Wall.
As I said earlier, I think the Project Vector agreement is gonna need to be renegotiated so we can put that 75 million in infrastructure, cleaning up this city, and making Baytown great again, really. To answer your question more fully, I'm gonna go to my platform that's on my website at mikewolf.com. My platform, as far as the vision for Baytown, says that no platform can address all of the needs of the community, but it can set forth a clear vision for the future. My vision for Baytown is one where we turn our current challenges into opportunities for growth and improvement. Baytown's a diverse community, and it's essential that everyone's voice is heard in the decision-making process. We need a Baytown that works actively to reduce crime, not just through effective policing, but also taking intentional steps to focus on anti-recidivism measures. Fiscal responsibility should never mean leaving the most vulnerable behind. We must collaborate with our community partners to ensure that everyone has appropriate access to healthcare. And our city is well positioned to meet these challenges. Got other things I could say, but my biggest concern is we've had growth beyond our means. And that's got to come to an end, or else we're gonna bankrupt ourselves. So, thank you.
Thank you, candidate Charles Johnson.
Long-term plan, you wanna keep people wanting to come to Baytown. We have 2 residential neighborhoods that were the top 2 selling residential neighborhoods in the state here. That's good for us. That means people wanna be here. And if people wanna be here, you wanna make an investment on your infrastructure. How do we make more, bigger investment on infrastructure? Let's look at east and west connectors, not just from North Main to Garth Road like we've done before, but maybe you wanna take a look at Garth Road going back to Wade Road. Maybe you wanna take a look at some north-south connectors connecting the feeder of I-10 with Wallaceville Road to help take some of that traffic off of Wallaceville. Picking my daughter up is getting pretty bad out there. Other thing I would like to do, I would like to continue to find innovative ways to help you as a taxpayer. This may not always mean lowering taxes. You can take a look at that, but there's gonna come a point in time where you keep lowering taxes until it starts affecting your way of life. And you don't want it to affect your way of life. So as long as we can lower taxes, let's keep looking at that. A cent, 1 cent, half a cent, we wanna keep looking at that. Other thing we wanna take a look at is, the permitting process. We gotta get developers into the city. We want them to want to be here in the city. Streamline that process. Make them feel welcome. We want them to come here. We want them saying, I wanna go to Baytown. The land may be high, because everybody's spotted their land in Baytown. Believe me, I know. Am I right? Yes, I'm right. But outside of that, just because I know that the permitting department is gonna take care of me, they're gonna look out for me, they're not gonna tell me no, they're gonna find a way to get me to that yes. Those are the things that I wanna do long term. Those are the things that's gonna help us grow into the city that we could potentially be.
Thank you. Just for our audience and for our candidates, we have 2 more questions, and then we're gonna move into closing statements over the next 20, 25 minutes or so. We're gonna wrap this up, and then we're gonna have time for meet and mingle afterwards. So our next question is, are there issues in the permitting process that discourages new businesses building in Baytown? Too much unnecessary regulation, lengthy and complicated and expensive processes. Goes to candidate Mercedes Renteria first.
There is a problem with permitting. It takes too long, and people have to go through a lot of red tape just to get a permit to do anything. When I was on council, I tried to implement a one-stop program where they would go to one spot and everybody would check off on that permit and process it a lot faster than the way they do it now. I would probably relax some of the fees on those permits also. You know, the city takes in money, a lot of money on them permits, and they spend a lot of time, a lot of the employees spend a lot of time working on those permits. So if we could make a one-stop program where they go to one central location and that just come to the city, apply for your permit, and then walk out with your permit, pay your fee or whatever, and leave. You know, right now, as it stands, if you apply for a permit, it might take you a month, 2 months, 3 months. So, you know, it just depends on the project you're doing. So yeah, I would do the one-stop program to help that permitting process.
Thank you. Candidate Mike Wall.
Yeah, I would say we need to simplify the process, and honestly, I can't really think of anything else to add beyond what Mercedes just said, so, thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Charles Johnson.
first step that we should take, staffing up the permitting department. You have people coming in, it's like we talked about building infrastructure for more people coming. Staff up the permit department to handle the amount of permits that are coming in, that we may need to pay them a little bit more than surrounding cities so that those people will wanna come here and stay here. Then you get the department together and you ask them, come up with a way, look to see where we can cut some of these things down. I wouldn't necessarily cut out all the permits because we have areas in town where permit fees can be waived if they go to certain areas to spur economic development in those areas. Start marketing that to these developers. Start telling them, hey, Buffet, you wanna go in? We know you wanna be on Garth Road, but there's an opportunity for you to be on Market Street where C&D's used to be. And if you go there, we'll waive all your permit fees. Not only that, we may just try to expedite some of these things for you, and that would put the carrot out and see if they take the bait. Helping the permit process is not something that's gonna be complicated. It's something that can be simple, it can be efficient. We just have to put more thought into it, and if we have to pay those individuals more money, offer more money, I'm all for it.
Thank you. Candidate Brandon Capatillo.
Yeah, I can tell you, when I was elected as a councilman in 2005, I heard about permits. We still hear about permits, but I can sort of tell you as mayor, when I went and really looked at the permit process itself, I was just blown away. I mean, we were pretty much doing it caveman style. And so we finally are in the 21st century, so everything, you don't bring paper, you don't bring plans and stuff, now everything's digital, you can send it in. And so we do need to streamline, we still need to streamline it. We have set up a one-stop shop. So if you actually pull your permit in Baytown and you come into City Hall, it's the first thing that you see. You see some individuals there that are very experienced, they're willing to walk you through the process, right? If you have everything together, you may have to go back and do some other things, but if you have what you need in order to meet whatever building code, then the process may be smooth for some. There's horror stories that we all hear from years ago, from yesterday, it doesn't really matter. And so permitting, again, that's what I'm talking about in mastering some of our core services, permitting being one of them. We're a growing city, but we're also a growing region. And so I would love to staff with more folks. We even third-party contracted some things out to try to expedite permitting. In fact, I got rid of some permits. I was like, why did we get one was a water heater permit. I'm like, nobody pulls a water heater permit, right? Your water heater breaks, you go up to Lowe's or Home Depot, you get a water heater, you get it replaced or call a plumber, right? It's in the middle of the night. And I said, why don't we do that? Or at least get it done online, right? It's an emergency. You wanna get hot water, you wanna take a bath, you wanna do whatever the case may be. And so, like, I really had them look at what permits do we really need to have? Because government, and certainly the city of Baytown, it can't be the buyer beware for every single thing that happens in your life. And so permitting was the area that it will probably continue to be a sore area. Everybody wants a permit now. I agree. The simple permits should be very fast. Build a new home or build a new business, there's a little bit more detail that's needed. And so it definitely, like I said, much improvement can be made, and certainly permitting is an area that I would certainly like to focus on in a growing city.
Thank you. And our last and final question of the evening is, if employed, how will you be able to juggle your time and being the mayor, since it is very demanding, and will you answer to the voters when they email you? Candidate Mike Wolf, you're up first.
Can you repeat the last part you said?
Yes, I'll repeat the whole thing. It's, if employed, how will you be able to juggle your time and being the mayor, since it is very demanding, and will you answer to the voters when emailed?
Absolutely. When I served in office before, I was working full-time for our Harris County District Clerk. In fact, I didn't take pay when I was in that elected position and working for the county. That's what I expect to do as mayor. In fact, I prefer to talk to people on the phone rather than through emails, actually, or through text messaging. That's kind of why I gave you my number earlier. But I'll absolutely be answerable, and I'll give you my number one more time. If you didn't get it earlier, it's 713-907-0326. Thank you.
Thank you, candidate Charles Johnson.
When I was first elected to council, I was working as an operator, 12-hour shift, alternating shifts. You either work days or you work nights. Started out as 4 on, 4 off, went to the DuPont schedule. I've made it, I can count on one hand how many council meetings I missed. I can count on one hand combined how many MDD meetings I missed, how many special sessions I missed, because I'm committed to it. It's not about the pay, $400 a month. Like I said, I was giving that back in scholarships and helping individuals. Now that I'm a real estate agent, I have the time. I have more time. I will respond to an email, but I prefer meeting you in person. My very first phone call was someone in Quail Hollow. The older individual told me she had been contacting the city about a trash can. The wheel had come off and she couldn't get a new trash can. Got with the city manager that morning. She had a new trash can by the afternoon. I stopped by her home to check on her to make sure that all of her issues were solved. And I did that while I was doing shift work. Imagine what I can do now being mayor, working as a real estate agent, where I don't have to attend a 9-to-5 job. I work as business comes in. I can manage my time, and in managing my time, I can help you all more than I've ever have before in the capacity as mayor.
Thank you, candidate Brandon Capatillo.
I'm serving as mayor, and certainly I know how it is to juggle the calendars. You know, it's so hard. You know, you get to try to sync everything up to know where to be. You have citizens that want to meet with you. I've accepted every citizen meeting or any citizen that asks for a meeting with me, I've accepted. It may be a 15-minute meeting, it may be an hour-long meeting, but I've accepted it when I've heard, I listened to the citizen. But it's very hard. I have a corporate job, right? I'm a corporate quality manager for air gas, and so I travel. But I will tell you, in the 20 years, if you hear it, I'd like to know. But I know everybody in District 3, when I was a councilman, I never heard them say, well, Brandon Capatillo doesn't return my email. I can tell you that, I never heard that. And I know some individuals that are here from District 3. I'll respond. That's the advice I give anybody, right? You respond to citizens, even if it's thank you, I will look into it. So I've always made myself available. I juggle my work, my personal life, my church, my mayor calendar, proclamations, you name it, right? And so I know what it takes. I will tell you this, you better make sure you have about 20 to 30 hours of each week to be mayor, okay? So I'm fortunate that I have a position that allows me the flexibility. So I can tell you this, I show up every day, I do my job for their citizens, I do my job for air gas. Some people are like, are you retired? No, I'm not retired, I'm still working, I'll probably be working for a long time. But I tell you what, I put our citizens first, I put my job first. No one knows the difference, okay? So I know what it takes, and I will balance that. I will continue to balance that as mayor, but I will tell you, it is a hard job, and it takes a lot of time. It's not 2 meetings a month, okay? I would say plan on 24 to 30 hours a week at a minimum, and at least 10 overnight trips on behalf of the city, on behalf of the citizens. So you better make sure you have the time to do it.
Thank you, candidate Mercedes Renteria.
Yeah, I have a job. I work for Chevron. I've worked for them forever, seems like. And over the last 18 years, give or take a break here and there, I've always juggled my schedule to do what I do. Unfortunately, at my age, you have no other life. So you got plenty of time to, to serve and help everyone around, so yeah, it wouldn't be hard for me to adjust. I'm already doing it right now. So, yep.
All right, thank you. So that does conclude our questions. If your question was not asked, there will be plenty of time to meet and mingle afterwards. But we are going to give all of our candidates an opportunity to give a closing statement for up to 2 minutes. Let me emphasize with the closing statement, no personal attacks, no name calling, don't have to mention anyone's name, just talk about why you want to be the mayor, why everyone here should vote for you. Okay, so we're gonna go to candidate Charles Johnson, 2 minutes to give a closing statement.
I want to be your mayor because you want me to be your mayor. It's that simple. I'm running because I had phone calls, I had text messages, had people knocking on my door. I had people stopping me everywhere. So much so, picked my daughter up from school one day, and guess what question she asked me? Dad, are you gonna run for mayor? I said, really? I should be asking you, how did your day go? No, I wanna know if you're gonna run for mayor, why are you asking that? Because some of my teachers were talking about it, and some of the students were asking. I want to be the person that hears you. I want to be the person that represents you. And I want that because you want that. That's why I'm here tonight. I can juggle it, I can handle it. I have a degree in organizational leadership. Organizational leadership. The city of Baytown is an organization and the mayor is the leader of that organization. I can do this. I've touched on it when I was on council, getting phone calls from all over the city. I can do it as a mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, candidate Brandon Capatillo.
You know, I was fortunate that I would have been employed, and it didn't matter if it was the Air Force or whatever. I only really went through one interview, in a sense, and that was with Air Key. And so I feel like this is a little bit of an interview this evening. And so I ask you, if you're the hiring manager, you look at it. Look at the candidates that are here. Who has the experience? If you're the hiring manager, look at a resume. Who has the temperament? Who can go and ensure that they're going to represent Baytown as mayor? Let me tell you how important the role is. Sometimes I pinch myself too, that I say, I can go mayor of Baytown. I am the only elected official office that represents our entire city footprint. To the governor, to other state officials, to the county judge, I represent that. Not a school board president, not a school board superintendent, even a city manager. I do it. So when you cast your vote, and you go and you consider all the things that you heard this evening, some are true, some are not. We don't have time for rebuttals. But I'll tell you this, if you're the hiring manager who has the experience, who can go and ensure that he's gonna put your family first, like he always has, that he's gonna lower your taxes, like he always has, who's gonna make sure that you're safe, like he always has, who's helped reduce the crime rates in Baytown by having our police department giving them the resources that they need. So if you're the hiring manager, you've seen what's up here, I ask for your vote. One more time, let's do it. We can continue to progress our city. I want to be your mayor. I'm your mayor now. I'm not doing it for title. I'm not doing it for any prestige. I'm just doing it for you to make sure we have a safe city, a good city that fixes streets, a good city that is lowering your taxes and being a good steward with your resources, and going and improving your quality of life. I've done that. I've delivered that, and I'm going to continue to do that. So I ask for your vote. If you want to talk to me, I'm always available. I believe I'm the easiest man to find in Baytown. So I'll take care. God bless you. I really do appreciate everyone coming out here and staying and listening to each and every one of us, and for the candidates also. I serve with these two individuals. We may agree or disagree, but I'll tell you what, I respect their families. Certainly Councilman Johnson's family and Mr. Renteria, I know his family. We both have deep roots for a long, long time, since the 1920s. I ain't somebody who just got here yesterday.
Thank you very much. Excuse me. All right, next one is candidate Mercedes Renteria.
Again, thank you for coming out tonight and listening. Again, I ran for mayor, or I'm running for mayor because Baytown is in financial crisis. I hope that you hear me and let this sink in a little bit. Baytown is in a financial crisis. We have problems with the debacle of the golf course, the hotel going bankrupt. We have the mall where we've given out money and still no mall.
Sure, they say the check is in the mail, but don't believe it, it's election time. Promises are made to be broken at election time. We've learned that over the years. But most of all, we need change. We need to change. We need to change what's going on here in Baytown, and we need a strong leader. Again, I served in the 82nd Airborne Division. I don't toot my own horn a lot, but I served there, and I know what it is to be strong in the face of adversity. And here I am. You know, I don't want to be here saying all this in front of family and friends that are here, but somebody's got to step up to the plate and call it the way it is. I know there's people that are not on my side and don't care for the way that I speak because they don't like what I say, but I'm not here to say what you want to hear. I'm here to say what needs to be said. Again, we need a strong leader. That's why I ran. You know, we need to work on our economic development. We need to work on revitalization of our old parts of the town. We need more transparency. We don't need to be going into executive session every meeting to make deals behind closed doors. We don't need that. We need to be open, have open government, be honest, not to make a mockery of the position that you've been given by the taxpayers of Baytown. You need to represent and honor what they have given you. You know, earlier it was said that I didn't believe in law and order, or was hinted to that I didn't believe in law and order. That's incorrect. I said I wouldn't take any money from the police department or the fire department, but I've always supported the police department. I think we need to put more money into the police department and bring down crime. We've had a lot of crime since 2018 to now. And I'm telling you, we need to change. We need law and order.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Time's up.
Vota por Mercedes Renteria in Spanish, for those of you that don't know English. And vote for Mercedes Renteria for your next mayor. And I promise you that I will honor the job and the task before me.
Thank you. Candidate Mike Wall.
Well, excuse me, I want to thank everybody for being here tonight. And I've got this to say. Baytown, just like our country, is at a crossroads. And I'm assuming most people in this room know who you're going to vote for president. You may not know who you're going to vote for mayor of Baytown. But I just want to say, you need to ask yourself, are you better off than you were 6 years ago when the administration's changed? And I've got to say, with my activity over the years here in Baytown, I don't think we are. That's why I'm running for mayor. I'm asking for your vote. And with 30 years of activity in the Republican Party, 30 years of activity working with people throughout the state, I've been serving you as a child support officer for Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton, as a government affairs specialist for Harris County District Clerk Chris Daniel, as a juvenile supervision officer. I've taught high school social studies. I've got the experience to do this job. And I'm asking you for that opportunity because Baytown's too important to just play politics with it. You know, you need to ask yourself who's going to put your family and their own family first. And that's exactly what I'll do. And I'd like to ask for your vote. Please go to mikewolf.com for more information. And you can follow me on Facebook. You go to my website and reach out to me right there. Thank you.
Thank you very much. If I can have all candidates remain for just a moment. Marga is going to just go over some events, some voting information, and make a closing statement. That's up for questions.
Testing. Okay, here we go. First, I want to thank everybody here. This mic is kind of weird. For coming. We, Baytown Informed, do this to inform the community on the candidates. We're here to be fair and to let you decide when you go to the ballot box. We're not deciding for you. This is your decision. Early voting starts October 21st through November 1st. And here in Baytown, it will be at the Baytown Community Center, and you'll get to see me there because I'll be working there. And also, J.D. Walker is going to be an early voting location. Please come vote. That's where your voice is going to be heard. And every vote counts. Like I said, we're here to be fair to everybody, to all the candidates. We're not here to promote anybody. We're here for you. We're doing this for you. I do it out of my heart. I'm the one that pays for this. Nobody does. Nick and Wybra, we put our money in it because we believe in y'all. And we want to educate and inform people. Not for anybody, not for any candidate. We're here to be fair with everybody. And in saying that, please vote. And if you have water bottles or any kind of trash, please be respectful for Lee College and throw that away for us. And also, we didn't realize, we like doing the forums here at Lee College. To me, it's comfortable, and the seating is very comfortable. So I never had the thoughts of doing it at the City Hall because I didn't inquire. I like it here. Daniel Christie, give him a hand in the back because he's always very nice and getting these donations. Like I said, I enjoy doing this, and I will continue to do this because I love serving the people. I've always been a servant of the people from a young age, and I enjoy it. So thank you. And Chambers County, can you stand up?
Rachel.
Rachel, where do we have Chambers County locations?
Chambers County voting will be at the 146 office where it traditionally is, and you can also go online to the Chambers County Republican Party to look at those addresses, and we of course have the same dates as well.
I also want to say, can the people that do work elections, please stand up. Let me give you a hand. And all the precinct chairs that are here will take your names and thank you so much.